So the real question is if I can knock this out this quick. It's another one. Off topic is back. And what we talking about, man? I did some drawing today. I did, did my run. I wonder if I should consider my run reviews creativity. How I get to them or what I produce from doing them is definitely creative. Um, I'll say it is. I'll say the concept, the idea is creative. So, um, on my running Instagram page, which is Do Moor Athletics, I started doing running reviews of books, or book reviews while on the run is a better explanation or description. And so what I'll do, or I'll talk about how it initiated. Why not? We're here. I started reading more books, and audiobooks weren't fulfilling as they're like I can do audiobooks when in specific situations, but when those situations don't exist, it's hard for me to do audiobooks. So like if I'm painting and doing artwork, I can do an audiobook, but preferably not while I'm doing it at home. I could do it like in a studio space that's dedicated to making art. If I'm doing some type of just monotonous work, like in my art installation job, if I'm doing like some repetitive install work and I cannot be bothered for, a few hours at a time, I can listen to an audio book and stay in tune. But interestingly enough, while running, I'm not able to tune into the book that well. So I started reading physical books as a way to get more reading in and just to feel like I'm doing like the real raw reading and picking that energy back up. So in doing that, I considered at some point, I don't know, the idea just came, I guess, to like review the book. And what I'll do is I will go to a free little library or a little free library somewhere in the neighborhood, pick up a book, and then read the book and then return the book. And on my return, which this might be a month later or a few weeks later, whenever I return the book, I will review the book while I run. So that's what I did today. I had been reading The Da Vinci Code and by Dan Brown. So I finished that book a few days ago, and today I had the time and space to knock out the book review and the space on my phone. So I was able to go do that review, and it actually is a double review. So I reviewed the book just as the book primarily, and then I did a compare and contrast between the book and the movie, and just a few topics between the two that I discussed. My wife has asked me if I was going to put my running videos on YouTube of these reviews. So maybe if people start to see this video and they think it's a cool idea, maybe I will, but I haven't considered it yet. Typically the review is a lot longer than I edit it down, so it's possible that I could do it both ways, but this is another step of editing and all that. But either way, I did the review, recorded the review. I haven't edited it yet, so I got to do that. But I have another book review to edit too, because I did an audio book that I did finish recently, and I have to edit that review too. So I got a couple things lined up, and this is taking for some reason priority to put these videos out daily. So I'll have to consider where these land in my daily practices with all the other content that I want to create and put out. So back to what I actually did in addition to my read and run and photo shoot that came along with the run review. I went back to my drawing, and as opposed to telling you about the drawing here, I'll just swap over to when I talked about what I was doing with the drawing here. Let's take this in. Let's zoom out. So I've been exploring mask imagery, digital imagery, emojis on this series, And so in looking for references for this figure's face, I wanted to look up something that was different than the original reference. And the artist that's the subject that's referenced is also an artist and a musician. So I knew that there would be some creative imagery, and I've seen it. So I went looking for some creative imagery. I had an imagery idea in mind that I thought I had seen from him. So that's where you get the scar marks from. But also, I found another imagery that was this like mask-like, very flat imagery where you got this mouth shape. So put in a couple of references into this imagery. I originally just drew his face the way it was in this composition. I flipped the original image so that he was looking this way, but I switched things up. But then I remembered that I wanted to do this mask-like imagery. And so that's what I'll do with this. And now I have the head composed into the composition, I can figure out how to connect his neck from here, or really from here to here. And sometimes I have to place the head because that's like the important part of the composition, like where's the face or head placed, and then I figure out how to connect it. So that's a fun part of my composition and creation in the stories of these works. I've had this exploration of wanting to explore. Originally, it was. Dang, I can't think of it. It's not intimacy, but something along the lines of like quality. I wanted the necks to feel like an embrace, as opposed to just like finding the furthest part of the composition and trying to figure out how to get the neck there. I thought that there was a certain degree of like connection to keeping the necks together, or close to the body, to better maybe represent its relationship to the body, and using things like the composition, the background, the foreground, the middle ground, and empty space to figure out how to move the neck to a more distant part of the composition to where I can keep that same level of proximity. So the body, it might move around the body here for a few movements and make its way off the page or canvas if it's a painting, and then come back up through another space and create its own shape and form over there. So that's here. This is me hopping into my creativity for the day later in the day than I thought it would be, getting to something like this, but I remembered I had some classwork to do, so I had to start there for my day. But this is some proof of my creativity of the day, and I can figure out the next step. Not tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. And yeah, so that's what I did. So I will come back tomorrow with another one. But for now, this has been an off-topic vlog. No theme for this one. There's a title, but I don't have a theme that came to mind. I didn't want to make this one too long, so this is where we are. Peace.